contact anytime for a meeting where
All
it's
right,
not required to be,
here we go, guys.
okay, never mind.
Okay,
Okay. I'm just waiting for this to come through and then I'll mute it. Where are we at here? There's the mute. It is muted already. Welcome, everybody, to our Score to Picture session with the Composer Exchange. Today's session is the Ocean Q review. And we have with us Janet, Carl, Art, and we have a couple other submissions that we're going to be sharing here. And to start with, we were going to go through Carl's. So let's take a listen here. I need to come back to something here. Oh, I have to go share my screen. I'm getting confused with which window is up because it's. All right, so here we go. Coming back over here. Click on share screen, get my desktop, share sound. Okay, I'm gonna. Is this Carl's? See with this. Just the ocean. Well, maybe we're just gonna go in order of whatever this one is. You speak up if this is yours, guys.
That's Mike's.
Okay.
Unique in our solar system. The origin of life on our planet. Home of legends, tragedy, adventure, and the diversity of life itself. The ocean. Join us as we journey across the planet's oceans, meeting the small, the large, and the downright odd inhabitants of this mysterious world. A truly alien world within our world. The Ocean by the CueTube.
Cool. Nice job, Mike.
Yeah, I really liked it too.
I'm gonna, if you don't mind, I'll go first because I can kind of rewind in here and then you guys might be able to use some of the same points and we'll put comments in the pie box. But I love the way this had a really neat emotional connection. And that, but when he came into here, I thought he had an opportunity to connect a little bit more with, you know, the narrative of what's going on in the storyline. And then, you know, this is an obvious transition here. I love the, what was that, like the string instrument that he had in there in the beginning section. That was really,
I think it was like a guitar, it's supposed to be like a guitar.
yeah, I think it was more like the, you know, almost like a, what are the ones that you play with the little hammer dulcimer?
oh, a dulcimer?
It was kind of a little bit more of that kind of a sound, but I really like the use of that. That was really interesting. When it comes into here, this part is really nice. Depending on, you know, a choice before it to kind of tie in, you know, kind of depends on, you know, kind of sets this up. So this was all really nice in here. I really enjoyed it. I thought he had an opportunity to get small or to do something to accent right in here that he could have taken advantage of. You know, the theme itself is really interesting all the way through, and some of you guys did the same kind of thing. That works. And then when he brought in that, it was like a pan flute of some kind. I thought that really worked well emotionally in connecting with this weird little octopus thing. Kind of, I think that's an octopus, but
Yeah, it is.
you know, that was that I thought that was really a neat connection. And then like the emotion coming out at the end, and then he blended the heart, the dulcimer-ish kind of sound with the flute. That was really a nice way to kind of bring it all together. So overall, I love the piece. You know, I think there's a couple opportunities that could, you know, connect a little bit more with the storyline or the narrative or the emotion. But the emotion, especially in the beginning, especially at the end, really worked for me. I really liked it. So, you know, great job. Kudos, Mike. Carl, let's start from the bottom and I'll work up because I have this an order. Carl, what do you think?
Oh, it was so uncaffeinated, you know. I, I liked it. It was so peaceful, you know. No people around trashing the environment. He just reflected that perfectly.
It's a neat way to put it. How about you, Janet?
I think, like you, Chris, I think I like the beginning and the ending. I don't know, maybe I've been working on mine for weeks, so I have sort of that in my head. I just felt that maybe there could have been a little more energy in the middle. Maybe just another instrument, just creating some kind of a little bit of, I won't even say motor, but like a pulse. But other than that, I thought the harmony was very interesting. I thought the instrumentation was very, very good and very unique sounding. So that's my take on that. And I haven't listened to any of these beforehand, so this is just sort of cold listening.
So I just had one quick little pass as I'm downloading it to look at it myself. Art, fire away.
Yeah, I really liked it. I thought the timbres he chose were perfect. And they mixed so well together.
Yeah.
I thought that the melody didn't take you out of the picture. It seemed appropriate for the kind of documentary that it is. There's a lot of dialogue, and it didn't get in the way of the dialogue at all. It wasn't busy. It was just enough to like give you a palette or a template to like work around. And I really liked it. I thought it was perfect for the scene. I did like also the fact that when he went underwater, he started with like a different pulse strumming. Whereas in the beginning it's sort of sporadic, and as soon as he goes underwater, it becomes almost like a motor, but not an intense motor, just enough to like, this is different. We're in a different environment here. I do agree that when he comes from the space to this scene, that there could have been a little more difference here. I don't know why. I think it could have been a little different there, rather than waiting until it goes underwater. But overall, I thought it was great. I really think he nailed it.
Nice use of banjo and electric guitar, man. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I don't know what it could have been, like a hammer dulcimer sound or a guitar.
I think so.
Or effects, because it was very ethereal, wasn't
in looking at this piece, we've got one section here. You're in space. Now you're coming to atmosphere, and then you're coming to being underwater.
Yeah.
And then you reveal it here, and then you're kind of coming to a different storyline by the time you get to here, because you're going into that.
Yeah, but
it's your emotional
I
life.
agree.
But I'm just saying that as a general, not in related to.
I agree that there's a storyline here, but I don't think the storyline is so exact as the previous cues that we did, because this is a documentary, so it's almost like it's give you a sort of a canvas to work in.
Yeah, I think it pulls you in emotionally. I mean, that's what
right.
I see. Everybody here has found a way to do that nicely. So
right.
Let's go with Dick Donors next. But great job, Mike. And this one I didn't get to hear because it was choking. That's why I ended up downloading. So let's take a listen.
Unique in our solar system. The origin of life on our planet. Home of legends, tragedy, adventure, and the diversity of life itself. The ocean. Join us as we journey across the planet's oceans, meeting the small, the large, and the downright odd inhabitants of this mysterious world. A truly alien world within our world. The Ocean by the CueTube.
Wow, no, this one from all of our others, myself included, this one stands out because it's a composition from start to finish. And it's telling the story, but it's wonderful orchestration, really. Dick, it's just, this is beautiful. And it's a cohesive piece. It's really neat the way that it all, resolves nicely at the end and everything.
Yes.
Really nicely done. I can't think, when I listened to it chopped up, I was thinking of all these things that I would critique it on, but it's like, as a whole, when I actually hear it all the way through, it's wonderful. Wonderful job. Yeah. Was there a sour note in there? I don't know. It's beautiful. Carl, how about you?
Yeah, again, very uncaffeinated and unhyped, peaceful, nice orchestration, and the music didn't get in the way of the speaker at all. Is there an FX track that's part of it, or did Dick add that with the bubbles and the whale?
Yeah,
that's part of it.
Yeah, that was part of it.
Oh, I took it out of mine.
Yeah, Carl, I noticed that when I listened to yours. I'm sorry, there were so many different assets that we could deal with. And you did the one with the time code with no sound effects. And yeah.
Right.
So we need to get Carl some green tea, I think, so we can feel a little more caffeinated.
I think
right,
mine has a little more caffeine in it, Carl. Just hang tight.
Yeah. All right, so you fire away there, Janet. What are your thoughts? And
I agree. I thought it was beautiful. A minor quibble would be in the beginning, the outer space sequence. I thought there was a little too much melody in that, or either that or the chord changes. The chord changes were wonderful, but they were a little sort of jazzy, and I would have done, well, I did do that differently. So that's just a minor.
Oh, you didn't see the George Jetson go across? Oh, you missed that part.
I missed that. I was looking at my phone or something. I don't know.
But I kind of felt a little bit about it. It just is all, it's like a different family lounge, it pulls you in. You notice the music more than you should, I think, is what it comes to.
Yes.
And not that it's bad, it's just you notice it more
right
than you should.
But the rest of it, I thought the melody that he had and everything worked really well.
It's your time to beat up on Dick there, Art. What do you think?
I'm you know me. I really like the piece, and the melody is beautiful. I don't think that it's necessarily appropriate for this video. I felt like the beginning, as you were saying, the music was a little bit not what I expected, and I felt like the melody was beautiful, but took you out of the picture. I found myself listening to the melody more than I should. Yeah, and it was beautiful.
That's always the danger with that, right?
It was beautiful, but I don't know if I would have done it this way. So that's all I can say.
I know you wouldn't have, because I heard yours. Well, coming back on this, I did feel like it was almost, if this would have been a Disney movie or something, a different, it was a story versus a documentary, I would feel a closer connection with the music fitting appropriately with it, because that's what you kind of expect. But I mean, I agree, it's a fantastic, wonderful piece, but there is that, whether or not it matches enough. But you know how we get started on something and we create something and we go, hey, let's go with the flow. And
Yeah.
sometimes we hit a home run, sometimes we
And everybody's got
make
different,
something different,
and everybody's got different opinions. The director may love that, you know?
depending on what they're looking for. Well,
Yeah.
this one stands out as being very different from what the rest of us did, in my opinion. And that's what I actually appreciated with this. Like, never would have thought of doing it like that, So,
But the
all right.
fact that it's different from all the other ones maybe tells you something too.
Something too, exactly. All right, well, great job, Dick. We did review it, even though you told us it didn't need to, but yeah, it was worth reviewing because it's good stuff. I think actually, before we go over to PyTop, in case I have to download those others again, I think mine is next. Now, before I had to get onto a bus, I got here at like 10 and I had from 10 to noon, I had 2 hours to just quickly throw this together. I listened to it one time through here already, and I've come up with 15 other things that I would love to do with it, but I tried to at least connect emotionally and have some dynamics and have some sound. I would change most of kind of the instrumentation stuff, but anyways, it's a typical composer's excuse. I got my list, right?
Right.
So here we go, guys.
Unique in our solar system. The origin of life on our planet. Home of legends, tragedy, adventure, and the diversity of life itself. The ocean. Join us as we journey across the planet's oceans, meeting the small, the large, and the downright odd inhabitants of this mysterious world. A truly alien world within our world. The Ocean by the CueTube.
Ta-da. Carl, beat on me first.
Nice crab scurry.
Crabstery?
Crab scurry.
Crab scurry.
Scurry.
The scurry of the crab.
The
Well
little-
orchestrated. Nice peaceful ending too. A nice fade. I like the piano.
Thank you. You know what? One of the things I learned actually from Guy Michael Moore, he said, hey, if you're in a time crunch, just sit and play the piano through it. And that's how I approached this one. I played the piano through it, and then I pulled back where I didn't want it, and then came and turned it off and played single lines, like with the strings or whatever, and then brought the piano back in. But that was how he did a whole score, one of his little series. He scored a whole film like in a day because he just played piano. He just sat and played piano along with it. So that's one of the ways that when you're in a time crunch, I couldn't get too crazy into doing, big orchestrations in some of the places. But Janet, what are your thoughts or suggestions?
First of all,
to make it better?
I am astounded that you did that in 2 hours. I bow to your prowess on that. I thought it was great. The only thing I couldn't really hear the music as well as I would have liked. But that might just be I'm sure that's just a mixing issue. But I thought you really did a great job with it. I love when the title first appears, you have a little celeste going on there, a little twinkly stuff going on. I thought that was great. I really, really liked it.
I found that the harp, because it almost sounds like it's underwater. The
Yeah.
harp itself.
Yeah.
So that was a nice underbed for that.
Yeah.
Cool, thank you. Art,
Nice beat. I'll give it a 98. No,
so
Take
give
it
me
down.
that 2% because I want to get better.
No, I liked it a lot, Chris, and I especially like a certain couple things that I'll mention. But I agree with Janet that in the beginning, especially, I felt like I was in a movie theater and I was hearing the sound from the next movie theater over, and the strings. It was nice, but I couldn't hear it.
Yeah.
I would have brought those up when we're in the space scene. Bring those strings up a little bit. I mean, because you got plenty of room. The narration's pretty loud. So, I just felt like they were like, are there strings there? Yeah, there are. Okay, what are they playing? I can't really tell because it's too soft. When you came into the lighthouse, I liked that crescendo there, but I thought there could have, if you had the strings in the beginning louder, it would have
Have more
Would have
And a
impact.
smoother
that
transition.
scene a little bit better.
Yeah.
I really liked the Celeste and what you were doing on the underwater thing. That was really nice. And I did something similar. So, but no, I really liked what you did there. And I liked the melody in the piano. It was nice, very pleasant. The only thing, like I said, that I would really change would be I would have had the strings up much more in the beginning so you could actually hear what they were doing. And I think it would have connected a little better to the lighthouse scene,
Thank
Very
you.
nice, Chris.
Yeah, so the strings, they were way too loud. I turned them down and then I'm like, I gotta go get on a bus in 15 minutes. And I never came back and mixed it. Because
Yeah.
I also, at the end, I've got this thing going on. That was too loud. I would have wanted to bring that back a little bit.
You reminded me. The timpani hit on the underwater with the Celeste was like, what was that?
That was another one. The second, in the first part with the lighthouse, it was the
was
right
fun.
volume.
Yeah.
But the second one, so it was, again, it was your mix thing. I agree with that. I agree with you there.
I
I
was
wanted
like,
to punch
where did
there.
that timpani hit come from? What does that have to do with this?
Well,
Because
that's like
that was so beautiful. And then
when it was adjusted volume, because I didn't do any animations. When I adjust the volume to that hit, so
Right.
that's because it's a nice accent,
right.
but then it's too quiet for the other. So then I lift it up and then
Yeah.
but a big-
I don't mean to be critical because I know
No, please. I
you got
absolutely,
time and equipment
Limitation.
restrictions.
Yeah.
yeah, but
Well, if Janet can't believe you did that in 2 hours, she should meet Amelia. Amelia is incredible.
Yeah.
she does. She does.
I envy
fantastic.
people who can work quickly like that. I
One
just.
time we were in a harmony class and she hadn't done the assignment. So she did it while we were in the harmony class.
I did that too.
Right.
Tony got so pissed off at me. He said, no, because I gave it to him at the end of the class. Like I pretended like it was all done, but
Well,
Yeah,
Amelia
she's-
wrote the whole thing while we
yeah,
had.
Wow.
yeah, she's good. All right, so let me see if I can pull up a pie box and get, who else do we have left here? We have
Carl and mine, I believe, and Mike
me?
Carl.
You haven't done mine yet.
and Janet's, right?
Let's do Carl's and then we'll work our way down here. So here we go, Carl. Hopefully this will play without interruption. And if it doesn't, then I'll download it and play it otherwise. So here we go.
Unique in our solar system. The origin of life on our planet. Home of legends, tragedy, adventure, and the diversity of life itself. The ocean. Join us as we journey across the planet's oceans, meeting the small, the large, and the downright odd inhabitants of this mysterious world. A truly alien world within our world. The Ocean by the CueTube.
Cool. Well, I'll go
Interesting.
first this time because I can go through this part here. So I loved the tension. I mean, might have been a little bit loud, but I love the tension, and then you changed it right here. That was a cool transition. Then I loved what you did here, but I felt it was almost a little bit too strong. I love the reveal coming right here. That was a really interesting approach. I don't remember if any of us really did the big reveal right here like this. That was really, that was a really unique way to, kind of a cool thing to do there, and having the reveal be the big moment. Where was it? I felt that, and I had this, when I re-listened to mine, I noticed that I was too busy when I got to here too. Right in here, it felt a little bit too busy. And I did the same thing, right at this particular part. But back over with this guy, you had this little trill thing going in there. And it felt a little bit like the timing wasn't as smooth as it could have been. It just, the timing felt a little bit off, and it distracted me. The idea, I think, was good. It just felt a little bit out. And then my only other thing that jumped out to me, I kind of like your kind of with this guy, the monster dude. But this felt too big. This kind of came in, and then all of a sudden it's just so big that it doesn't leave you in this. The emotion pulling from that light through is more peaceful and a little more somber. So my suggestion in this part of what felt right to me was to have come down in here. So there's an opportunity to tie in with the emotion. I think you get down once you get towards the end, but it just felt like it got too big there with this reveal, because you have the big reveal early on. It might have more impact with a little less power right there. I mean, I understand what you were going for, but I don't know. That's just my take on it. Janet, what do you think?
The initial sound right here, it's very, very, very dissonant and menacing. I thought that would have worked better if it hadn't gone on for so long, because I think it was too menacing sounding. I mean, I think as a very brief, maybe couple of second introductory sound, I think that's good to grab somebody's attention. But I think because eventually it got much less dissonant. I would have done that sooner, because otherwise, if you do it too long, people are thinking that this isn't, an alien invasion story or something like that. And I also agree with what you said, Chris, at the end. I thought it was just a little too dissonant. It put out a different emotion than I got from the clip. It's just a little too menacing at the end.
Cool.
But kudos to you for hitting the little scurrying crab and the giant whale. You hit those points, which I just completely ignored them. So that was really good, and I think you did a little trilling thing for the little crab, and you did there was something going on in the low strings, I think, or something for the whale. It was just a little subtle hit, but I thought that was really good.
Getting something that made this guy creepy was kind of one of my challenges, and I thought you nailed it on that guy.
Yeah.
The creepy little whatever. Is that a stingray?
No, it was like a flounder or something like that.
No, flounders have theirs on the side. It's really it's different. But anyways.
Oh, that is.
Nice work, Art. Tell us your thoughts.
Okay, so Carl, I have to agree with Janet that the beginning space thing to me felt a little too ominous. It was like we were having an invasion. If it was a science fiction movie, it would work perfectly. But I thought I know what you're going for. It was that zoom in, and it was almost like a spaceship kind of sound, but it had a menacing quality to it. I got the same reaction to it. And then I liked when that stopped and it was like this void, and you had the eclipse, and it was like much more open and much less menacing sounding. I felt in the underwater scene, I agree that I felt it was a little over scored. I felt like you could have taken one or a couple of those ideas and used them less. It seemed a little disjunct to me and a little busy. And I felt like,
Right there.
yeah, even before that, I felt.
Yeah, right in there, but it's
Yeah,
coming into here.
And then, of course, at the end, I thought it was very ominous. I waited for, Jaws to come in and boom, 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 and take out the turtles, I'm sorry, Carl. But, as always, really well composed and really well thought out and really well orchestrated. I've just, it was my emotional reaction to it,
I think a lot of this for all of us is just building that intuition, so we can just blurt it out and have it feel right. When we can do it, and it just, like Guy Michaelmore, if he could just sit down and write a score, how you feel. One of the winners of the, I forget which one of the contests, I went and looked at his other work, and he did a silent film. This guy was a really skilled pianist, so he did all this cool stuff, and I was like blown away at how he's able to, improvise and put this mood together with a silent film, and it was just brilliant.
Well, you can imagine those guys back in the 1900s and the 1910s that would improvise the whole movie. They had books that they would use to sort of give them some ideas and whatever, but it's still amazing, but you got to be that kind of keyboardist that could do that.
Yeah. Let's see, who's next here? We did Janet is next.
gotta do
and then
me. Yes.
And then, we do Mike's? I think we did Mike's
Yes, we
first.
did.
didn't we? All right,
Did
so
his
it's
first.
we didn't do art yet. Okay, so cool. I think this is, Janet. Art, yours is an MOV file, right?
Yes.
Okay. Take it away, Janet. Here we go.
Unique in our solar system. The origin of life on our planet. Home of legends, tragedy, adventure, and the diversity of life itself. The ocean. Join us as we journey across the planet's oceans, meeting the small, the large, and the downright odd inhabitants of this
Why is it always mine?
mysterious world. A truly alien world within our world. The Ocean by the CueTube.
Wow.
Can we watch it from the middle where it started disrupting?
I'm gonna watch it from the beginning.
Okay.
Give me a second here. It only takes a second. Yeah, this one has some interesting things. Let's see. Here we go. All right, we're gonna watch it again.
Unique in our solar system. The origin of life on our planet. Home of legends, tragedy, adventure, and the diversity of life itself. The ocean. Join us as we journey across the planet's oceans, meeting the small, the large, and the downright odd inhabitants of this mysterious world. A truly alien world within our world. The Ocean by the CueTube.
Cool. Since I have control of this little lever, I'll go first again. I like the theme that you started developing here, and the piano worked for me. It was a big enough, bold enough sound in here. I like the theme. It felt like you could have capitalized on this transition, but it wasn't necessary. It felt okay through there. It's just if I recall, somewhere in here is where it started growing and getting bigger. And I like you did the same. You did kind of two things that I've heard before. One was the idea of you really had this theme that kind of went start to finish with your piece. You made it one whole piece as opposed to doing them with Mickey Mousing. You had some elements that were accenting, but you were going for the cohesive piece. And you did a big reveal here, which was kind of nice. But once you get into here, like right into here, I felt it was too big. It needed to lighten up. I felt that lightening it up it needed something that would make it feel a little bit different. Because this is where, like, hey, poof, now you're here, and now this little fella here is, and maybe it's just the choice of libraries, not necessarily in the musical content itself, because you had that that's fun and playful, and you're coming out of something that's bringing you into this playful, and you go back to that at the end, which I like. But again, at the end, I also felt it was just a little bit too big. This was interesting through here, and you had some nice textures. But again, maybe considering a little different instrumentation might it would pull out a different emotion. But I love the playfulness, and because it's alien, but you're also these are creatures. You can go with that whole playfulness. But like from here on, it felt to me, because it's okay. Your reveal actually worked there, but I would have liked to see this be a lot smaller. As it goes out towards the end, still is playful. I think that was really the motif is really neat. Just perhaps instrumentation or just lightening it somehow. That playfulness is kind of neat. That you pulled out that playfulness. That's one of the neat things that I got from your cue. Very interesting approach. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Carl, what you got for us? You're muted, bud.
You're muted, Carl.
Sorry.
Okay. Thought the piano at the beginning created I thought it was nice the way the space part and the lighthouse part were connected with the piano. I thought that made sense. It worked. And at the end, after the credits, where you have the trio of turtles, I like the effect that you used, reverb or whatever it was, to kind of give a sense of distance. I thought that sounded good.
Thank you.
Ooh. Yeah, now that you mentioned that was a neat thing at the end, that part of it. Art, what are your thoughts, bud?
Okay. At the beginning, I really liked the piano and the use of it, and it was open. It was very open chords, so it gave that void of space. I felt like the register was maybe a little bit low, but you counterbalance that with like a tinkly sound up top.
Yeah, this
It
is,
made it palatable. Otherwise, it would have been a little too ominous, like we talked about with the other one. But I thought, it worked. It was open enough, and it was counterbalanced with the tinkly instrument up top. When you went to the lighthouse, I felt like it could have been a little more different. I felt like it was just carrying a little farther through. Now, you started to go different towards the end, but I would have gone a little different, maybe a little bit before it. Then when we got to the underwater, I liked the piece. I really liked the themes, but I felt like Chris said, I think that the library choices were a little bit out there. The low strings were really percussive and really chunk, 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 marcato kind of sounding. And I think if you'd used a softer sounding low instrument, it would have helped that. Because I almost thought it was a drum at first or something, because it was so percussive. And then when you came in later, I could tell, oh, they're the low strings, and they're just very percussive sounding. I think he could have used that little woodwind motif more in this section, or a couple times. I don't know whether you did or not, because I didn't notice that, but I noticed it at the end, of course, when there wasn't. But I think you could have used it maybe once or twice before it, just to counterbalance those heavy low strings. I like the high string run that you had. That helped counterbalance it. But I think mostly it was just a choice of library. What strings were you using, Janet?
so I was using, there's an ostinato in there, which starts, right at the first reveal of the title. And that was the Albion ostinatum.
Okay.
That comes with Albion 1.
Yeah, and it was real percussive.
Well, I think what you might have been hearing were the drums, because I did use the also from Albion 1, the
Right.
Darwin percussion ensemble.
Right.
And I did have I did struggle a little bit with sort of taming those drum sounds. So that could have been what you were hearing.
Yeah, I thought I heard the drums, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
And then they stopped, and it was just the basses, and they were still like really boom, 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 and I felt like if you used a softer attack on those, it would have been less kind of like marcato kind
Less
of,
aggressive.
it would have fit the scene better. But I like the ideas, so I think it was just a choice of the library there. Do you have any other strings besides the Albion 1?
Yeah, I use the BBC Discover.
Yeah.
I think I had those in there as strings.
Were they the high strings?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the low strings were really what kind of took me out of it. It was kind of like, oh, I like the idea, but
I'm
they're-
thinking I may have had them as the basses, doubling the cellos in there. I have to look and see. But
yeah. So that was the only thing that took me out of it. And the other thing, obviously, I think could it counter the high string run. That thing was nice counterbalance, but I think you could have used the woodwinds there too as a counterbalance against it. Yeah, very cool.
okay, thanks.
Good ideas. Great, thank you.
It's awesome.
Thank you.
Well, it's like one of the joys that I get out of this is hearing everybody's got some good ideas and some ideas that maybe don't work as good. And that's really cool to be able to hear that go like, oh, I take this from Art, take this from Janet, take this from Carl, piece it all together.
Piece it all together.
Yeah, we'll make a new kind of soup. Anyways, moving on to Art. Here we go, bud.
Everybody can abuse me.
What's that?
Now everybody can abuse me.
Unique in our solar system. The origin of life on our planet. Home of legends, tragedy, adventure, and the diversity of life itself. the ocean. Join us as we journey across the planet's oceans, meeting the small, the large, and the downright odd inhabitants of this mysterious world. A truly alien world within our world. The Ocean by the CueTube.
Cool, man. I mean, this is coming from such a brass player. I could this is, you know, Star Wars majestic coming in here,
Yeah.
you know. And it works because we kind of connect with brass and space, and I absolutely love the contrast coming from that to this with the strings. That was a beautiful texture change. I loved it. Really powerful, and boof, that crescendo was powerful. It worked coming into here, and then you got the tinkling, you got the thing. You did a small reveal and you have the tinkling. I absolutely loved it, except right coming out of this, when you changed right there, it felt a little too strong.
That's
And I
strange.
think that I think it's more of a mix thing, not the music itself. It was just a mix thing. Because the theme was fine, but just mix wise, it was too strong. It took me out of the picture, out of the story, and but musically fine. It just mixed. Coming to here, this was all interesting, and I love the composition stuff that you were doing in under this. This is all beautiful. This felt a little bit big with your beautiful orchestration. Typical art masterfy. Is that a word? Masterfy? No, well, I
It is
can't make
now.
up a word. It
It
is
is
now. Okay. It was beautiful. It felt like it was too strong for, you know, where you had been. Same orchestration. Maybe it's just a mix thing, pulling it back or kind of, you know, separating some things a little bit. And you had an opportunity. You started to do it, I think, somewhere in here. You started bringing in kind of a low sound, some kind of a cello or a string in there. That, and then maybe depending on what I'm hearing now, it almost felt like that could come up just a little bit, just to kind of fill it out a little bit more. Somewhere in here, I don't remember exactly.
Yeah,
where you started.
there's a pedal through all of this.
Yeah, so the pedal that could have kind of like swarmed in just a little bit somewhere in there. You could have played with that a little bit, but the compositionally, I absolutely loved it. It was wonderful. It just those mix things that were in the middle of that. So fantastic, Carl.
Yeah, I really liked the orchestration and the strings, the melodic ideas. I felt at the first in the space part that immediately 2001 came to mind, and Richard Strauss, and also Zarathustra doing his thing.
Yeah.
But and so because of that, I wanted to, oh well, might as well go for it. I wanted to hear even more orchestration, more, you know, fatter sounds of the brass with more instruments. I also noticed same thing Chris did, and in the period where it looked like the crab or the shark didn't really get any love of their own, but underneath it, apparently you did have some strings. I just couldn't quite hear them. So maybe a mix thing there, where you bring that part of the bed up a little bit. Other than that, great.
Fantastic. Janet, tell us your
Yeah,
thoughts.
so I got the
I'm gonna
same
I'm
feeling.
I'm
I'm
gonna
sorry.
skip for 2 seconds. I'll be right back. So if you get done before I get back, Art, share your thoughts. I'll be
Okay.
right back. 1 second.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
Okay. So I got the same feeling that Carl did. I heard 2001, that first interval that you had there. I thought, oh, okay, we're doing Star Trek here. But I got more of an underscore kind of feeling from this art. The music, which was excellent, and the orchestration as well. It seemed a bit neutral to me. So I don't know if you were going for more of an underscore feeling, but that's the feeling that I got from it. And the only thing I would say is that the last harmony that I hear at the end of the clip sounded like a minor chord, and I was disappointed. I was hoping it would end on a more hopeful or uplifting note. But other than that, I thought it was really, really well done. And I think that you did the best job in the transition between the outer space and the underwater, the lighthouse section. I thought that your transition in that section was perfect. And I thought you did the best job of all of us on that.
Yeah, it's funny how we are programmed to expect something from something, and I thought, solo trumpet, maybe a little more reverb and in space,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
very, very fourth and fifth oriented melody, and so that's kind of what I was going for there.
Yeah.
And you're right. I did do sort of an underscore kind of thing. It was really, it was St. Sloan's Aquarium. I mean, you can't hear the harps very well, but the harps are doing the, all that stuff, and it's over a pedal and the
Yeah,
planing, So it was
yeah, aquarium, yeah.
actually, I wrote it before I got Aquarium. Then I said, this sounds like Aquarium. So then I got and then I said, oh, harp's doing that, like
Yeah.
underneath, and as an ostinato, and that's kind of what they're. But you can't hear them well for some reason or other when it's like in the movie. It sounded louder on my DAW, but that's
yeah.
typical. Yeah.
Again, the banjo and the electric guitar were
That's right.
fantastic. More cowbell, though. We got
More cowbell. Don't forget the zither.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, this has been a fun session, and it was great to listen to everybody's piece. I'm gonna close this off. We're here with Art and Janet and Carl, and we listened to Mike and Dick's pieces as well. If you're interested in any of our sessions on the Composer Exchange, find me and I'll connect you with Slack. If you find this on YouTube versus some of the other places, this is specifically to composers that want to grow their skills scoring to picture. And there are other sessions that we interact with on the Composer Exchange. So just find me and we'll make a connection. We're gonna go offline right now with the YouTube, but we'll continue on our discussion in just a few minutes. Once I find the right button, I'm gonna stop sharing, then I can find the button over here. And then it is live, and we'll